From the PEP Radio Newsroom, we have this special report on air flight cancellations. Airlines worldwide have begun canceling flights as the war in the Middle East strains jet fuel supplies and pushes up prices. But the disruption doesn't end there. For travelers, it can mean having to navigate a confusing web of passenger protections that vary widely depending on where they're flying. And the timing is amplifying the impact. These pressures are arriving at a time when summer travel demand is ramping up, with major events such as the World Cup expected to put additional strain on airports, said Eric Napoli, Chief Legal Officer at AirHelp, a company that helps travelers secure compensation for flight disruptions and advocates for passenger rights. Question: are these cancellations happening at the last minute? In most cases, no. At least for now, fuel-related cuts are often being made days or weeks in advance. Lufthansa Group, for example, said this week it is cutting 20,000 short-haul flights across its network through October. That gives you more time to adjust your plans than you typically get with weather-related disruptions, which tend to trigger last-minute cancellations. My flight was canceled. What should I do first? Check your airline's app or website immediately for rebooking options. If you're flying on the U.S. carrier, that's often the fastest and easiest way to secure a new seat, according to Tyler Hosford, Security Director at International SOS, a global risk management and travel security company. Non-U.S. carriers tend to have fewer digital tools, Hosford said, so it's worth trying multiple channels, including the airline's customer service lines or airport desks. Do I have the right to a refund or a new flight? In most cases, yes. Airlines typically offer either a refund or a rebooking on the next available flight. The exact rules vary by country, but those are the baseline options you can expect. In the U.S., for example, if your flight is canceled and you choose not to travel, the airline must refund you, regardless of the reason. Airlines may offer travel credits instead, but you're entitled to a full refund for airfare and any extras you didn't use, such as baggage fees or seat upgrades. Are passenger rights the same everywhere? No, and protections vary widely by region. From the Montreal Convention, which governs airline liability across more than 140 countries, to specific consumer protection laws in the US, Canada, the European Union, the United Kingdom, Turkey, and Brazil. Europe has some of the strongest protections, including compensation in certain cases. And they apply to any flight departing from an EU airport, regardless of the airline, as well as to passengers flying on an EU-based carrier into the EU, even if the journey starts outside Europe. The United Kingdom maintains a similar framework. The US and Canada offer more limited protections. Policies vary widely across Asia, and in some cases, travelers may need to rely more on airline policies than formal regulations. To get a clearer picture, experts recommend searching the name of the country you're departing from and passenger rights before your trip. So what protections apply? It depends. Airlines may cite fuel shortages or rising fuel costs as the reason for cancellations, but whether you're entitled to compensation often comes down to if the disruption is considered within the airline's control under local laws. Regardless of the cause, Napoli said, airlines in the European Union, for example, still have a duty of care, meaning they must provide necessary support to travelers, including rebooking. While airlines are citing fuel shortages as a reason for upcoming cancellations, travelers need to know that this does not automatically waive their rights under EU laws, Napoli said. How can I prepare before a trip to avoid headaches? A few steps can make disruptions easier to manage. Sign up for flight alerts to stay informed and book directly with the airline when possible. It's much easier to resolve issues with the carrier directly than through a third-party booking site. Knowing your options ahead of time and having a backup plan can make a significant difference if plans change. So, what do I need for a claim or complaint? Documentation is critical. Save everything: boarding passes, receipts, cancellation notices, and any communication from the airline. Take screenshots of app or website updates and any communication taking place online, and jot down key details from phone calls. Napoli also recommends asking the airline for written confirmation of a flight disruption, including the stated reason. Should I accept the first alternative flight the airline offers? Not necessarily. Experts say one of the most common mistakes travelers make is taking the first option without checking alternatives. Look at other flights, routes, or even nearby airports because you may find a faster or more convenient way to reach your destination. Can I book a different flight myself? Yes, but proceed carefully. If the airline's rebooking option doesn't meet your needs, especially if your new flight isn't for several days, you can look for alternatives and request a refund. Just be aware you may need to pay any fare difference up front, and you might not be reimbursed later. Any other tips to avoid getting stuck? Yes, a few. Book flights earlier in the day so you have more rebooking options if something goes wrong. Set up flight alerts through tracking apps such as Flighty to get early notice of cancellations or delays. In some cases, Hosford said, notifications arrive before the airlines. Consider nearby airports as backup options. Be kind. Airline agents may be more willing to help when interactions stay calm and respectful. Ultimately, the shortage is squeezing the entire system, from travelers to airlines, and is something to watch as the industry looks for any relief ahead of the summer travel season, Napoli said. This story comes from Associated Press contributor Rio Yamat. Yamat is a national business reporter for the Associated Press. Based in Las Vegas, she covers airlines, travel, and tourism. That's our special report. From the PEP Radio Newsroom, I'm David Moore reporting.